There is no prize out there. The only prize is this one, and what you feel and what you want to accomplish. I feel that I very often watch a lot of young people sort of meander around without any idea about why they're doing what they're doing. To want and to be ambitious and to want to be successful is not enough. That's just desire. To know what you want, to understand why you're doing it, to dedicate every breath in your body to achieve. If you feel you have something to give, if you feel that your particular talent is worth developing, is worth caring for, then there's nothing you can't achieve.
Your purpose is available to you at any moment in your life, but you gotta know what it is. Each moment, we've got to be able to find some sense of meaning for our lives, something that is significant, something that is useful.
What's your why? Why do you wake up in the morning? Why do you put on that jersey? Why do you go out and practice? Why? What's your why? I do what I do because my daughter says she's going to Harvard.
Maybe get you to put some of your focus into the most important area of life, which is enhancing meaning. See, all of us in life have to have a reason to be here. If all you're doing out there is going out and trying to achieve goals, and then you achieve them, then I'm sure you've run into that trip-up wire that says, okay, I've achieved the goal, and now what? Right? You achieve the goal and your brain says, is this all there is? See, the purpose of a goal, as I've shared with you so many times, is not to achieve the goal. The purpose of the goal is what it makes of us as people, who we become. Ultimately, though, we have to have a sense that who we even have become has some kind of meaning. Without that, there's not a reason to live. There's not a reason to get up. There's not a reason to go out there and make it happen. I'm gonna go for something. I'm gonna stand for something. I'm gonna put myself in line in a relationship or my business or my vision to make a difference in the world. And no one can live a life that's fulfilled without a sense of meaning.
You gotta have a why. You gotta have a reason for why you do what you do.
See, we've been put here for a reason.
What did you learn from it? Are you learning anything, or are you doing it over and over and over again? Are you going through it, or are you growing through it? Are you bigger and better because of it? Things are going to happen to you, and the most important thing to do is to harness your will and let it go. I'm in control here. I'm not going to let this get me down. I'm not going to let this destroy me. I'm coming back, and I'll be stronger and better because of it. You have got to make a declaration that this is what you stand for. You're standing up for your dreams. You're standing up for peace of mind. You're standing up for health. You want it, and you're going to go all out to have it.
What is an extraordinary life on your terms today? Getting clear about that. At this stage of life, where you are, where you want to go. At some level, you have a blueprint, a mindset, a belief system, a philosophy, a set of values that says, if I master this thing called my life or my enterprise, then I'll have this great feeling. But what's really interesting about life, I believe that extraordinary life, however you define it, has two master skills to it. The first skill is the science of achievement. The science of achievement is a skill. It is a science. There are laws.
You may not understand why it's taken so long. why it hasn't turned out the way you thought, why you're in a lonely season, a discouraged season, a stagnant season. But everything you've been through was to strengthen you, to develop you, to prepare you.
It's about how can I find the gift I have to give the world. Second skill of life is less focused on, and if you're going to have not only management, but create and grow an extraordinary life, you've got to master the second. And that second master skill is the art of fulfillment. Is find out what is it for you that's going to fulfill you. And I'll tell you, there's two primary elements to that. You've got to figure out what is your gift that's going to give you a sense of meaning, because you can't be fulfilled without a sense of contribution. Happiness for most people is temporary. So success without fulfillment, that's called failure.
God wouldn't have allowed it if it wasn't part of the process. Without it, you couldn't give birth to what's in you. And if you'll do like David, not try to figure it all out, not live bitter, negative, instead, keep passing the test. Keep doing the right thing, giving, serving, loving, then your time is coming.
Sometimes we have to ask ourselves, what's using my life? One of the things that we know about life is that it is always changing. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. Sometimes things go real well, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes you're happy, and sometimes you're sad. Now that's that thing called life. And when we begin to understand and know that, accepting that reality that we will never ever have things just on an even keel all the time, that you're going to have some ups and you're going to have some downs. But during those down moments, that's where the growth takes place. That's where the work is. Anybody can feel good when they have their health, their bills are paid, they have happy relationships, the children are acting normal. Anybody can be positive then. Anybody can have a larger vision then. Anybody can have faith under those kinds of circumstances. See, but the real challenge of growth, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, comes when you get knocked down. How you handle it, that's where the growth takes place.
Is an evaluation of what your real gifts are that are going to fulfill you. Because many of you are living a script around your life that involves having an enterprise when really that may not be your true nature. Where you really are in your life today. Where are you? And where do you really want to go? What's going to create this extraordinary life? And to look at it brand new. Because some of you right now, if you continue the direction you're going, are going to be successful and unfulfilled, unhappy, and stressed. Because once we get, into a dream, then that dream starts to take on a life of its own. It gives us juice, it gives us energy. But how many of you ever got the dream, achieved your goal, and then thought, is this all there is? You got to separate the vehicle from the outcome. What is it that's going to truly fulfill you? What is it that's going to give you that extraordinary life? What's going to make things magnificent on your terms, not somebody else's terms? Sometimes you got to reevaluate what's going to really make you fulfilled. What is your gift? Are you an artist? Are you the talent that can produce something no one else produces as a skill or a product or a service or some impact? Are you incredibly good at management? You really know how to manage or lead people? Are you an extraordinary entrepreneur that can take that gigantic gut load of risk and can create the vision and attract the talent that you need and the managers and leaders? You may have all three abilities, but which one really fulfills you the most?
Why don't you stop beating yourself up because you don't perform perfectly all the time and start accepting yourself because your heart is right? When you live guilty and condemned, feeling wrong on the inside, it only makes you do worse. It takes a mature attitude to say, I am happy with who I am. I know I'm improving. My heart is turned toward God, so I'm not going to beat myself up. I'm going to enjoy where I am while I'm in the process of being changed. But too many people, they go around feeling wrong on the inside. They're so focused on their flaws, their weaknesses, what they're not, they don't like who they are. If you don't like yourself, nobody else is going to like you. You project on others the way you feel about yourself. If you feel guilty, lousy, condemned, mad at yourself because you're not far enough along, that's not only going to hold you back, you're not going to have good relationships. Quit taking inventory of everything that's wrong with you. You may have a lot wrong, but you have a lot more right with you. You are not a mistake. You have been fearfully and wonderfully made. In fact, when God created you, He stepped back and said, that was good. He calls you a masterpiece. Quit living like you're ordinary, mediocre, average, when in fact, you're one of a kind. Think of it like this. For every peace stealer you allow in your life, you are 20% more likely to live stressed, on edge, to have a crisis. I'm asking you to find happy friends. I'm not saying you have to cut people off, never speak to them again. I am saying you should put up some boundaries. You don't have to make a big announcement. Like I did, just little by little, spend less and less time with that person. If you don't get the wrong people out of your life, you'll never meet the right ones. The people who are closest to you need to be stable, consistent, happy, godly, responsible people that move you toward your destiny. Like iron sharpens iron, you make each other better. This is the reason many people are stuck. Who do you have in your life? What are you giving your time and energy to? Putting out fires? Trying to keep someone happy? Feeling guilty because you can't meet their demands? That's going to wear you out. It's time to make a change. You can't please everyone. When you come to the end of your life, you don't have to answer to people. You'll answer to Almighty God. Don't let what some person says or does make you feel less than, unqualified. We all have people that come against us, make negative comments, trying to discredit us or belittle us. Human nature is to get in there and try to straighten them out, prove to them how they're wrong. We think we have to defend ourselves. After all, that's our reputation. But the problem with this approach is as soon as you get one person straightened out, 3 more will pop up. There will always be somebody that's against you, somebody that's trying to make you look bad. If you're constantly trying to defend yourself, you'll get distracted fighting battles that you were never supposed to fight. It's easy to get baited into conflict, thinking, did you see what they said about me on social media? I'm going to show them who they're messing with. Do you know how much energy it takes to try to pay somebody back or to try to prove to them that you really are a nice person? You are spending emotional energy that you need for your dreams, for your goals. Here's the key. You don't have to defend yourself. God said He will defend you. He will protect your reputation. Quit worrying about the chatter, the negative comments. Those are all distractions. That's the enemy trying to bait you off course so you'll waste your time and energy involved in battles that don't matter. We don't always see how powerful we really are. God has put healing in you. Your hugs can cause people to get better. Your kind words can put people back on their feet. The scripture says a gentle tongue brings healing. A phone call, giving them a ride, taking them out to dinner, encouraging them in their dreams. There are miracles in you waiting to happen. And some people just need to know that you believe in them. When you tell them, hey, you're amazing, you're going to do great things, I'm praying for you, that may seem simple to you. But to the other person, it can be life-giving. It can help them blossom into all they were created to be. Don't worry, your time is coming. When your anointing catches up with your appointing, supernatural things will happen. Supernatural increase, supernatural growth, supernatural favor. God knows how to make up for lost time. He can propel you where you could not go on your own. The life we live, the decisions we make, should make it easier on those that come after us. When we hear the word legacy, a lot of times we think of how we'll be remembered, our accomplishments, and what we'll leave our family. That's all important, but there's also something even more significant. The scripture talks about how we can store up mercy for our children and future generations. We can store up blessings and favor by living a life of excellence and integrity that will affect generations to come. I had grandparents that prayed for me and modeled a life of excellence. You are where you are because somebody sacrificed, somebody prayed, somebody served, and now God is honoring them by releasing His goodness in your life. None of us got to where we are on our own.
Do something you're very passionate about, and don't try to chase what is kind of the hot passion of the day.
And oftentimes the best methodology is to start with the perfect experience with just one person, get that right, and then figure out how to scale something great instead of scaling something not so great and then trying to improve it. That's really hard to do.
And so I think when you are starting a new business, you don't want to go after giant markets. You want to go after small markets, and you want to take over those markets quickly.
Constantly seek criticism.
Yeah.
A well thought out critique of whatever you're doing is as valuable as gold. And you should seek that from everyone you can, but particularly your friends.
People say you have to have a lot of passion for what you're doing, and it's totally true. And the reason is because it's so hard that if you don't, any rational person would give up. It's really hard, and you have to do it over a sustained period of time. So if you don't love it, if you're not having fun doing it, and you don't really love it, you're going to give up.
And I think everybody should think about that. Explaining your vision clearly, succinctly, in a short period of time ends up being really important.
So just go and do it, try, learn from it. You'll fail at some things. That's a learning experience that you need so that you can take that on to the next experience. And don't let people who you may respect and who you believe know what they're talking about, don't let them tell you it can't be done. Because often they will tell you it can't be done, and it's just because they don't have the courage to try it.
You have to have an emotional investment in what you're doing. If you don't love what you're doing, failure is pretty much guaranteed. Success is not guaranteed by any means, but failure is much more likely if you don't love what you're doing.
If you know exactly what you want to be, you need to spend as much time with people that are actually that already.
The concept of a leader having vision, is way overrated. Vision is irrelevant without executional skills. You can have vision all day long, and if you can't generate cash, who cares? So I tell students today, you're not in business to make friends. You're in business to make money, to return capital to shareholders that trusted you and put their capital in harm's way. When you get up in the morning, the first day you become someone that took shareholders into your world, you are going to be number 2 for the rest of your life. You wake up in the morning, you figure out, how do I get returns back to my shareholders? A business is not designed to solve all of society's problems. It's designed, its DNA, its essence, is to return capital to shareholders. And so now I see a lot of leaders who think their role is to solve society's problems. I quietly sell their stocks.
Don't necessarily think that you have to have the home run and the huge Apple computer on your first start. I spent a long time in my life with skills just building little devices for fun. For fun is one of the key things, because that drives you to think and think and think and make it better and better and better than you ever would if you're doing it for a company. Build things at first for yourself that you would want.
Many of you, as I have been, as I am, are where you are in your life based upon what you believe. And it's not just what you think you believe on the surface, it's also your shadow beliefs that are holding you back from moving into the life that you believe you deserve.
I want leaders who understand that returning my capital to me is what's most important. I will take my profits and give it to charity. I don't want you to do it for me. And so I'm trying to get our young entrepreneurs back on track in terms of what matters. Business is war. There are winners and there are losers. You don't have to be a nice guy or woman to run a business. You have to be able to execute on a plan and deliver returns to shareholders. It is not your job to solve all of society's problems. It's your job to take care of your shareholders.
What I learned from Steve Jobs is, if you believe in a Macintosh, if you believe in iPhone, iPod, iPad, if you believe enough then you will see it. Because other people will believe in it. Other people will create software. Other people will create products. So you need to foster the belief in what you are dreaming so that it becomes a reality, which is very different than saying, I don't expect anybody to believe it until I see it. You need people to believe it before they can see it.
But what you really need to do is think about what is the smallest possible test that I can run for this idea, for this concept, for this theory, get it out there, and get customers using it. Because your customers are going to be the ones to tell you if it's really working or not.
We are teaching a mixed message to our students, and there is no room for that. Thank goodness I'm here. We need more of me explaining what really matters. Because, you know, if you try and solve society's problems and you're running a company, you are going to fail, and you will lose your job.
If you're not looking at the shadows, if you're not looking at what is subconsciously running through the tape in your mind, telling yourself you're not good enough, you're not worthy enough, you're not smart enough, you're not enough, which is a tape that's playing for a lot of people. If you're not conscious of that, then you end up acting out of that belief system and not out of what you know to be the truest or want to be the truest for yourself.
For somebody aspiring to, take things to the next level or to even surpass their wildest dreams, there's always going to have to be an element of luck. But I think more important is putting yourself in a business that can be ubiquitous, that really doesn't have limits. Because otherwise, there's always going to be a grind to it. But if the business, if it can't be something that you can visualize every business using or every consumer using, it's going to be tough to scale to be big enough.
When you're trying to differentiate, when you're trying to do something different, there's going to be that gut moment, that gut sense. Is this right? Is this not right? If you're not having doubt, you're not pushing the boundaries far enough.
But you don't become what you want, because so much of wanting is about living in the space of what you don't have. That's why Jim Carrey's story is so powerful, because he started to act as though he already had it. He would go up to Mulholland Drive, he would drive away thinking, I already have those things, I just haven't accessed them as yet. I believe those things are going to come to me and I'm going to act like they are. So I'm going to move forward in my life in order to draw that to myself in such a way.
And there are a lot of people from whom we can learn a lot. And I think the one piece of advice is don't underestimate anyone you come across ever. Right. Like whether they're, a blue collar worker waiting for the bus, or they're, helping you they're the server or bartender at the restaurant, or they're a lower ranking employee. I mean, the smartest leaders I've ever seen have always gone around the room and asked for everybody's opinion.
It's not just about doing focus groups. It's not just about, double checking your vision. It really is about integrating this concept of testing our ideas rigorously throughout the product development process, throughout the marketing process, even as we scale up.
So if you start to think about that, really, why are you where you are in your life? The choices that you have made have been because of what you believe to be true for yourself.
You've got to believe in yourself. You've got to believe in your abilities. You've got to believe in your service, your company, your ideas. Unquestionably, you must have faith. It's hard. Yes, it's hard. It's difficult. Yes, right. And it's worth it.